So it's basically like bridging the gap between application and smart contract integration. Very, very similar to like what we have in Postman for regular like APIs, but this time we're like building the same thing but like for smart contracts to ensure that we improve developer experience of what currently exists today.
Welcome to the DevNTell podcast, where founders, hackers, and anyone in between showcase their products built on the bleeding edge of tech. GM, welcome back on the show, David. Ecstatic to have you back on, man.
Yeah, definitely good to be back. It's been a couple of months and a lot of progress within that period.
Yeah, I imagine so. I was taking a look at the website and the docs and whatnot. It looks like you guys have built quite a bit more than the first time you were around. But just in case folks didn't catch you the first time on DevNTell, did you want to just give a brief introduction about yourself?
Yeah, I'm David. Usually like Astro David.8 on Twitter. Yeah, I used to do engineering at Consensus, after which I decided to like start building Bonadocs. So Bonadocs is a tool set that allows applications built on top of existing like smart contract protocols that are on chain. So it's basically like bridging the gap between application and smart contract integration. Very, very similar to like what we have in Postman for regular like APIs, but this time we're like building the same thing but like for smart contracts to ensure that we improve developer experience of what currently exists today. I think people have done a really good job, even like before Bonadocs came on the scene, like folks at ETAs and like folks at VM, they've done really good job building out the front end stack for application devs, right? Ensuring that you're dealing with like on-chain transactions directly from your React app or your Next.js or your Vue app. You're able to do that pretty seamlessly with this tool set. And like even like the past year, we've seen a lot of good work like Privy that even got acquired by Stripe, right? It's basically the same thing. We're building like a better like developer experience, user experience on the user side of things or like on the application side of things. So it's really a lot of progress on the application stack over the past since the last time we spoke.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm really excited for you to share all those updates with the folks watching here or listening here today. And just curious, before we get into all that, you mentioned you were previously at Consensus. Just curious, like, how did you find yourself in tech? Like, was Web3 the first kind of exposure that you had to the tech world, or was there something else that kind of brought you in?
So pretty much I started like with technical writing, and also like front end engineering. So I've always been on the application, side of things, right? I've always like written the regular, front end frameworks, React, Vue, as long as it's like JavaScript, TypeScript, I've always been good at that. Then I think in 2021, I think it was during the whole like bull market, euphoria and all of that, was really when I really got into the Web3 space. And post that, we're going to like the entire, a bit like bear market and the rest. And then I started like digging into like the engineering side of things, built a few tools, especially like from the angle of, sending to the wrong wallet address. Like it was really weird to me that if you send to the wrong wallet address, that's like a 42 character, right? It just like goes missing. And so I was really like curious of like what was that about. So at that time we built like a tool that enabled people to like, send links instead of wallet addresses, and the recipients can, or the sender in this case, gets the link and they also connect their wallet to the link and send to the person. And basically we were just like thinking around. That was the point where I basically then I applied to Consensus, right? All of that, then I got in. And after that period, I joined like the fellowship, like the Consensus fellowship, with Bonadocs, and yeah, from there it's just been up.
That's awesome, man. And yeah, it's always interesting to hear like how people got into tech and how they basically evolved themselves up to this point. And that point around like making sure the wallet address is like correct, and if like
Yeah.
one thing is off and it's like, oh no, where did my money go? Yeah,
And,
that's like, yeah,
and it's
it's so
irreversible. Like that's
yeah,
the
yeah,
edge.
yeah, exactly. It's just like, oh, whoops, there goes my ETH, there goes my USDC or whatever.
Yeah.
No
It's
good, no good.
such a bad experience.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. And yeah, I guess during your time at Consensus was and your experience with the Web3 ecosystem, was there a particular moment or something? Maybe it was just like this bad user experience with wallets or whatnot. Was there something that kind of led you to working on Bonadocs? Like, what was the inspiration behind you getting involved there?
Yeah, so I'm a co-founder. We're basically working with the XML team on like a side project where we wrote a smart contract. We needed these guys to integrate into their app, and there was just too much confusion because they basically have to like jump on calls to say, oh yeah, this is the correct contract method to call and this. And in my head, I was like, okay, usually when we write APIs and we share the APIs with front end developers, right? We basically just use like a tool called Postman, and you're able to like call everything directly in that sort of like playground environment. Then I just realized like in Web3, this didn't exist, right? We didn't have this sort of like integration environment that just allows people to import contracts and basically interact with it like they're on a front end app before they even like integrate it into their actual real life app. Because like once you're able to sort that like middle ground, that environment, it basically ensures like there's less confusion. So I could basically write the JavaScript that does this. Let's say, for instance, I think we'll demo that after, right? I need to resolve an ENS name. So if I wasn't Web3 inclined, let's say I'm just a regular Web2 front-end developer, and I need to understand how do I actually like resolve an actual David.it into the actual address I'm trying to send whatever stablecoin to, right? I need that environment to buy, can probably like show me how to do it, and I can run that code within the environment, right? So by the time I'm ready to integrate this into my app, I just like take the code, paste it into my application, and it works, right? So that's that middle ground, that bridge that we're actually trying to like ensure that we build out.
And that's like a really important point, and an area a lot of people, it maybe like the Web3 native devs kind of take for granted, but like a lot of
Yeah,
people that aren't exposed to blockchain development might be like, oh, like why can't I do some of the same things I'm already well accustomed to, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Like developer experience is miles apart.
Yeah, exactly. And it's great to see that you guys are trying to bridge this gap and fix this like legitimate problem in this space. So, and I think this is a great segue to kind of get into all like what Bonadocs is. Did you want me to pull up your screen or
Yeah, I think we can do that right now.
let's do it? All
Yeah,
right.
so it's going to be like a short demo, not going to go into like too much technicalities. But here we're able to set up an environment, right, for ENS Playground, just before the call I had like up. But usually you have to like import the correct contracts, right? So here I imported resolver. I added, the project name, description. I added like the public resolver that ENS uses. Added the contract address, and I have the ABI. Right. So this contract is already imported into this playground, and you just need to show that just for clarification. And under here, we have something called action. So under action, what happens is you're able to write JavaScript code that interacts with the smart contract. So in this case, I had imported VM, so you can like import ethers and VM. We're just like limiting it to these packages for now. So you can import ethers and VM, which are like the two major JavaScript libraries that allow you to interact with contracts on chain. So here we imported like the mainnet object from VM, also from VM, and the normalize method from VM. So what's going on here is we are able to set up like a public client, and we're able to get ENS address. So ENS, this get ENS address behind the scenes uses a universal resolver that is being used. Yeah, I think I lost a second, but yeah. So this is being used by VM. Like this method, this get ENS address method. If you go into the documentation, let me open that up just for clarity. So yeah, we have get ENS address. So this get ENS address, right? It's the same thing we have here, basically, that we're trying to call within the docs, within the playground rather. So this method itself is being used, abstracts the universal resolver. So we go to universal resolver here. So they need to like do forward resolution. So because already after in VM, right, you don't actually need to like call the resolve method on on this particular contract, because like here it's already integrated into VM and ENSJS, so you don't use it directly anymore. So that's why I'm actually not using it directly. I just use it directly from VM in this case. So we pass in, I have a sub name bonadocs.ashwadavid.eat, right? And I can console log the ENS address it returns. So if you click on this, we're basically querying the method to get back the address. And here we have the address attached to that name. And I believe if we use the actual base name, ashwadavid.eat, we should get back my actual address, which is this. So what this does for like, let me put in the context of a front-end developer, right? I'm building an application and I require like ENS resolving an ENS, right? And the user has inputted their actual and I need to like get the address. If I have like no understanding of like how this the docs and start looking for like, oh, how do you do this? Or oh, I'm confused how this would work. All I need to do is have this environment and integrate and like maybe get on a call with the Solidity dev, and we're able to like have and be out all of this action that needs to be done on the app, and we can call it directly in this environment. So whatever works here would work when I'm actually building the actual app, right? So let me open up a second playground here. So I'm bringing up this playground that basically shows you how to perform a transfer. So the user has like you editing the address and they need to send it to another user, right? So I will just create a new one here. Let's say transfer, and we call, let's use, actually it's tenderly Ethereum create action. So let's play this out. I already have the code written out, just so there is no need. Okay. Let me ensure we have VM here. So you can have like the VM package into your playground environment. So what's happening here is instead of using a testnet, right, I'm using like a virtual testnet. So a virtual testnet is a service that Tenderly offers. So what they do is instead of you going to like look for testnet tokens, looking for a faucet that works, they basically have this sandbox environment here that allows you to have like a private explorer. They allow you to like have your contract. They give you like a dedicated faucet for any token you need. So I had already like set that up just before, and all you need to do is basically use the RPC URL for that particular chain, because basically it's a network. It's just like a private sandbox of some sort, instead of using like the testnet, right? So I had it here. I also used to initialize the public client, like I did earlier with the VM method. And here we also set up like a wallet client and the latest nonce just for the transaction. So here we have like the right contract. So we added like the USDT address, the USDT ABI, and the transfer method. So we are transferring like 10 USDT to this particular address. And once it's sent, we get like a USDT transfer confirm. So what this does is that it shows whoever wants to like build that, oh, here is actually how to do it. Get like the low level just to do this particular transaction. So it's just like you're just creating a form of like an environment where you can share with other people. So if you share the playground with somebody else, they understand exactly what your contract is trying to do for the user. All right. So a lot of times I think about things from the point of view of what does the user need to do on the application, right? And how do I use the smart contract to do it? So you have a protocol like Uniswap. Okay, how do they actually perform a swap on the actual app, right? So you need that logic. So it's just similar to that, right? You have this environment where we're able to write out JavaScript logic that interact with the contract to perform a user action. So like I said earlier, you're able to like the USDT has been transferred and unit has been confirmed. And if you go to your little virtual testnet here, you'll see that it has been completed. So you can see here transfer. So this is like our block explorer, similar to like an Etherscan, but like because private, that's how it looks like this. So this just shows you like what the playground can currently do. Like the first time that we spoke, we just had like the doc gen, where you could have like a widget that interacts with a particular contract method. But like now you have like a full-blown playground whereby you can actually check that, how do I perform this completed action? Because in order to perform an action many times, you need more than one method. You need like maybe perform like some JavaScript logic, can be a conditional or whatever logic you need to perform. So this presents you the opportunity to like actually write out full-fledged actions for your users.
Yeah, this is amazing, David. And the libraries that you were showing that you can pull in, are those fixed, or can people pull in other libraries as they need them?
So for now, we just try to like limit it to VM and ETAs. So we just try to like limit to like just the on-chain logic you're trying to write. So most of the other things you probably need to add here are things that you can basically hard code. You need like external libraries, but I know you can also add Lodash. So there's that. But we're trying to limit to just ETAs and VM. So like even building out functionalities on our end, it's much more direct.
Gotcha. And are you only limited to a single file that you can play around with? Is it possible to create more than one file that interacts with each other in this playground?
Yeah, for sure. You can add like new actions here. So we see action 2, for instance. And so here you can choose like a simulation engine. So we choose like tenderly virtual testnet. There's also like build beer and the mainnet directly with no testnet, with no simulation. And we have like an inbuilt simulation engine. It's still experimental, right? So, but basically you can have like different actions. This is like a boilerplate to start off. But yeah, you can have like different actions that can, dedicated files like show you how to do different things.
That's awesome, man. And I guess these virtual environments, is there a way for them to kind of persist? You mentioned that you can share these with other people to see, for them to get an idea of how they work. So is there kind of like an account system where people sign up and these playground sessions are kept around, or is it like a one-shot kind of deal?
So you have an account. I didn't show that earlier, but basically you have an account that's tied to your so let me just log in so you can see here. Like log in with Google. Give me a second. Yeah.
It's all right. Live
So
demos.
yeah, so like we logged into the account, right? And you can see like a list of, so you created a team first of all. So I created a team called main protocols, and I've been creating like these different playgrounds within here. But you can also invite team members, right? You can also invite team members here. You can add a team member, you add their name, email, and they also have access to team and they can see all your playgrounds. But besides this, you can also create a link. Probably need like a one-off link to share somebody outside that you don't add to your team internally. So if you go to your playground, like let's say, I think in this particular one, okay, I think this is it. Well, basically, if you need to like share it, you can like publish to server and get this link. So with this link, for instance, if you open a new tab, you can open it. So this saves to like the server and you can share it to other people. But besides this, if you need to like have a playground that is like immutable, probably I don't know, your documentation or for whatever reason, you can also save to IPFS. So if you let's come back here, let's close this. You can see publish to IPFS and also get like an IPFS link that pretty much does the same thing. So that way you can share either to your internal team or you can share external to people or you can just share to the public, right? Just to have an understanding of what your contracts actually do. Because you know, like Web3, we are open source, we are open by default, right? So if you say something like this to IPFS and share with somebody, they can be sure that it's exactly what you did and you want them to see, right? It cannot be edited after, right? As long as that same IPFS hash. So that way they are pretty sure that this is exactly your contract and this is what you want to do. So yeah.
Awesome, man. Yeah, you certainly weren't holding back when you said you guys made quite a bit of progress since the last time you came on the show. And yeah, that's amazing. Just curious, any plans to integrate perhaps like AI chat feature in this? I think it would be kind of neat to have like a playground and have something kind of sitting in the wings to help you. Maybe you're copy and pasting some code you saw online and you're trying to make sense of it and see how it works. Any plans to integrate AI into Bonadocs?
Yeah, so I've been thinking a lot of like autocomplete. So for instance, you have like code and you're typing and you know, if you use like Cursor or like a Copilot, they have like autocomplete feature. So I've been thinking a lot about that. And I think that would be a good ad. And also like for documentation. So I'm thinking about a situation whereby you can open the environment, the playground, import your contract, and it'll be like generate documentation for it. So documentation per contract and documentation per method. So we have like a place for it right now. So if you go on that documentation, you can see this. And you click on here, you can add like documentation for each contract. So I've been thinking about a way to like have detailed documentation be generated by AI. So once you import the ABI, you import the contract address. So yes, it's definitely something I'm thinking about, and it's like part of things I'm hoping to build in the coming months. So yeah, definitely on the way.
Awesome, great to hear. And I guess on that, is there anything that you can share about the Bonadocs roadmap from here on out, or anything you can tease as to what's coming?
I feel like what we're trying to tease right now is kind of outside the playground. Interestingly, it's like so we've seen like what stablecoin can do over the past 3-4 years, it has like gone mainstream fully. But I feel like the next thing I'm betting on right now is DeFi protocols. I'm saying this from the point of view of yield. So how can we get this stable coin to generate yield for people like reliably? So the same way people will invest in like ETFs, same way they invest in stocks, and they hope like at the end of the year they have like a 5% yield on their investments. I'm thinking about something for like a lot of people are holding stable coins now, whether for like cross-border transactions, whether for payments and the rest. So like how can we get the stable coins to give them yield, reliable yield at the end of the year? So we're thinking like being like an API. So because like Bonadocs itself is like around integrations into application. So we are kind of like thinking of being an API, right, that enables regular fintechs provide this to their users. So a lot of regular fintechs right now have integrated stablecoins. So like, how can we give them yield on that stablecoin without while abstracting all of the complexities of like rebalancing portfolios and the rest. So just like a single API integrating into the app, and the user automatically gets a certain percentage of yield, every year. So that's basically what we're working on, or like they were thinking about right now.
Interesting. Yeah, it's certainly a hot field, particularly this year. Sorry. So yeah, that would be very interesting to see how that plays out. But I guess for the developer audience that's watching today and wants to get started with Bonadocs, like what's the best way for them to kind of do that? Obviously, they can sign up for the playground, but is there any particular tutorials or starter repos they should be on the lookout for?
Yeah, so there is the documentation, but there's also like a quick start tutorial we have on YouTube. That should be a good place to start, I think. I remember let me just see Bonadocs on YouTube. Bonadocs YouTube. Oh, here it is. I need to go too far.
There's your first episode.
Let me just get the link and paste that here in private chat. Yeah, it's right there.
And we will share this link in the description below. So for those of you watching, don't worry, or listening, we'll have that for you. And
yep, I think they're out. Go on.
Oh, you go.
You go. Well, I was going to say like, the tutorial basically just shows how to set up like the Bonadocs playground quickly. So I don't know if you don't go through the docs. This is a quick start for users.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely share this with folks. And in case people were also interested in contributing to Bonadocs, is there opportunities for them to help out, or how can they get involved if they're curious to?
So we only have I think 2 repos that are currently like open for the public. Like as we keep going, we're going to like open up most of our repos actually. But right now it's just I think the widgets. The widgets repo is currently open source, and the protocol registry. So we have a registry where you can basically add. So if you have like a playground like built out and you want like anybody to just view it, right? You can add your playground into the registry. So let me search for registry. Kind of slow right now. Split. Okay. So yeah, registry is right here. So you can add your playground to the registry, and it will pop up here. So we have like a public registry for smart contracts, which is registry.bonadocs.com. You can find a playground there and like test it out. So if you're done building yours and you want to add it to registry, so right here you can basically just add. We have like the steps on the README of the repo, and it's pop up here.
Oh, interesting. So theoretically, developer relations engineers or protocol engineers can come in and basically upload working code samples to this, correct? That's the idea?
Yeah, exactly.
Right on, right on. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Like a lot of code is kind of like dispersed in big or all these different GitHub repositories. So like having these working samples in like a central place, I think would be really neat. So I guess if you're a developer watching this, definitely you'll want to give Bonadocs a try. And unfortunately, we've come to time here. But yeah, David, this was amazing to see all the progress you've made here. And definitely we'll share all those resources for people to check out Bonadocs.
Yeah, I think we just had like a bunch of stuff, and yeah, I think with the resources, people will like figure things out, both with the docs and the videos and the reports. Like they'll definitely figure things out. But yeah, we basically covered a lot actually on for each feature in this instance.
Yeah, and it shows, for sure. And yeah, I guess with that, thank you again, David, so much for taking the time out of your day to come chat with us today. And for all the folks watching here today, definitely give Bonadocs a spin. All the resources will be in the description of the video below. And with that, just want to wish everybody a very happy Friday, happy weekend, wherever you may be. And we'll catch you on another great episode of DevNTell next week.
Yeah.
All right, all. Have a good one. Cheers. If you enjoyed this episode of DevNTell, be sure to subscribe to never miss an episode. Till the next one, cheers.